So this is a beautiful place, and you should all come visit this place because it's special.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to everybody else. I know he's the man, but I'm telling them to show up. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. All right, so you have questions for me, right?
Yeah.
And I have questions for you.
I hope I did my homework right.
Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Do you have audio? You have what you need? Okay. By the way, everybody, this man can really play guitar. He's a very good guitar player, and I'm gonna make him play for you all before we're done. Okay, you're gonna turn red as his shirt in a minute. All right, that's good. All right, good. Go on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about PRS guitars, what the history is about it, what's the ideology about it, and how they are so good as they are. So shall we start with a bit of history?
You like that?
That's a Canon. Like it? I adore it. It sounds. Listen to the low note. Sounds like a piano. Really good guitars are bright on the low strings and thick on the high strings. This is bright on the low strings. Really thick up there.
And sweet in the high positions, yeah.
Not just sweet, it's loud too. I had one of these, and it didn't sound this good. It was close. The bridge has been changed, you see?
Yeah.
Did it have a plastic bridge on it originally?
No.
No.
Not in 58.
You're not going to beat that. I've been around guitars all my life. You're not going to beat that guitar. The low note is ridiculous.
That's nice.
You're not going to beat that. It's not possible. It won't get better. It's not possible to get better. There's a point at which the physics won't convert any better.
Come on, let's see what else they got.
So why did you put this guitar here when I walked up? You have, as they say in America with I Love Lucy, you got a lot of explaining to do. You have a lot of explaining to do. You got a lot of explaining to do. What? Why?
So we saw the videos of the archive. So for the guys who don't follow the PRS YouTube channel.
It's not just guys.
Guys and women. So, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen. No, so they have an amazing YouTube channel with a lot of information on the background and history of PRS guitars. And one of the videos is about the first and the second guitar that you made. And the second guitar that you made
looked like that.
Looked a bit like that. And
not a bit. Looked exactly like that.
Exactly like that. Yeah, there was some work done.
All right, so if you're in a band, the first two tunes you play are not the ones you wrote. The first two tunes you play, Proud Mary, Smoke on the Water, something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I had to do that. I had to do other songs first. That was important. I needed to learn how to do a single cutaway neck joint. I needed to do a double cutaway neck joint. I needed to learn how to put frets in the right places. I had to put the nut on right. I had to figure out how to put the truss rod in the right place, how to put the bridge in the right place, how to get it to intonate, how to have the headstock angle correct, I had to learn. And so, of course, I would copy something that I had respect for. And the best guitar player in my town played one of those. So that's what I did.
Super.
Good. The problem is, what do you want for that? That's a really good one. I keep running across gems in this building, and I want an explanation about how you know gems better than other people. That's what I want to know. Well, where did this love and understanding of guitars come from in this building? That's what I want to know.
So I think he's somewhere in the back here. Where's Rudy? Rudy is somewhere? Or is he run? Oh, he's upstairs. Well, Rudy is the founder of the company.
Yeah.
And he started off in 2001 after he had a gardening company and landscape architect. And it was a very cold, very long winter. And he said, well, I'm going to do something that I love. So he bought 4 vintage Martins from the United States. And we started trading. Well, he started trading back then in 2001. I was 5 years old. And 4 became 8, 8 became 12, 12 became 14. We actually have the whole lifespan of our company in that book behind there. But you can have a look at that later on. So last year we had our 20th anniversary.
Go on, I can listen to you and look. It's all right.
So last year we had our 20th anniversary, and that's how it all started out. So it was a place next to where we live. So I was always walking up and down from my sleeping room into the guitars, and that's where the love of guitars come from. And we source them all over Europe, all over the world even. And yeah, that's where the
Well,
love
that's
and
the
understanding
first
for vintage
mistake
gems.
you've made. All the vintage dealers in America are all my friends, and you never called me. So we have a problem.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Oh, we got a new source now.
You have a monster. You have a big bank account because there's so many good guitars for sale, but most people don't know where they are.
Exactly.
And I've been offered vintage guitars my whole life, and I've not bought them. If not a vintage, the guitar is a way to me to be taught. If you have a guitar from 1922, which I saw today, what that guitar will talk to you because that's what they thought on that day. They're not alive to talk to anymore, but the guitar will talk its ass off and tell you what they thought that day. Believe me, you pick up that SE Silver Sky, and on that day, that's what we thought. If you were going to make that kind of guitar, that's what we thought that day. And it's very important to do that. So I was never a vintage guitar buyer seller. They were lessons for me. In the violin world, if you have a Stradivari,
Yeah.
and there's been a few repairs on the top and they've changed the neck angle on the bass bar, it's still a Stradivari.
It still is.
But in the vintage guitar market, oh my God, they changed the bass pickup. It's horrible. Oh my God, I will go crazy. I'm sorry, these are old instruments. They need to go to the repair shop. Unless it's perfect and never been played, you know, the money goes down. But the really good ones are the ones that need to go to the repair shop because people are playing them all the time. And the bad ones are the ones people put back in the case because they didn't like them. And they've got it all upside down.
Can you imagine not changing the cars on a tire?
Oh, really?
No.
Let's have a Model T Ford and leave the original tires on it. Good idea.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so bad in the guitar industry that people say tone widths don't make any difference at all. It's only the pickup. That's like saying in the violin world, the Neumann microphone, which is the pickup, and the violinist is the only thing that matters. Nothing about the woods on the violin makes any difference at all. What a load of crap.
It is. Yeah.
Did you use that word crap? Nobody laughed. Do you have a word for that? Yeah, okay, so that's another English saying. So I just don't buy it.
No.
I don't buy it. All strings make a vowel sound. They go woo or wah or ah or ah or ah or e or ee like a dolphin. And you can't get rid of e with the pickup.
No.
This doesn't go away. The acoustic sound of the guitar makes a difference.
The fundamentals.
We were doing a clinic at Chicago Music Exchange. Have you ever heard of this store in America?
Yep.
It's a big museum, very similar in a way, in spirit to this place. And except when I do a clinic at Chicago Music Exchange, this is all Gibsons, and you were nice enough to put PRSs back here. And this is all being videoed, and that's the way it's going to go. So there were 300 people in the room, maybe 3 times what we have 100 people in the room, probably something like that.
Yeah.
80, 100. There were 300 people in the room, and this guy, and I was talking about 57 Strats and 63 Strats and 59 Les Pauls, and I was talking about how you could test how good a guitar was with a stopwatch, and no matter what, a guitar that rings for 12 seconds is not as good as a guitar that rings for 45 seconds, and get out your stopwatch, and you can figure out how good the guitar is and all this stuff. And this guy stands up in the middle, he goes, and he's got his arms crossed, he goes, Paul. I said, what? He goes, Paul. I said, what? He goes, we don't know what you're talking about. I said, what do you mean? He says, we've never played a 57 Strat. We think a 57 Strat is a reissue. We've never played a 59 Les Paul. We think a 59 Les Paul is a reissue. We don't know what you're talking about. And I said, but they're hanging on the wall behind me. You can play them, right? And I looked at David Cole, who started Reverb, and I said, they can play them, right? He goes, no. No. Oh, shit. True story. And I realized at that moment that I had been spending my entire career going through stores like this and going and finding the old instruments and listening to them talk, and they had not had the opportunity, or they hadn't spent the time to go to the vintage shows to do that. And they didn't know what I was talking about. There's an instrument here that welled me up today. It's upstairs. It's a 1922 baritone mandolin. Is that what it is?
The Mandola.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a challenging thing for us right now with all the vintage guitars and the high dollar price. It's really difficult to import them.
First of all, it's really loud. Second of all, the strings are really thick. Next thing is you hit it and it takes your head off. It's so loud. And it was made by one of the fathers of the guitar business, the person who made the very first electric guitar, Lloyd Loar. He made a harp guitar with a pickup in it that slid out of it. And they didn't have the jack on an amplifier. They only had the headlight jack from a Model T Ford. So that's what it had in it for the output. It had the headlight jack from a Model T Ford. And he was predicting the beginning of electric guitars with a harp guitar. Most people think it's a lap steel. It's not. It went all the way back to 23. And here was an instrument made within a year of that, and the thing's taken my head off, and our industry has forgotten how good a mandolin can sound. They're really loud. The really good ones. They sound absolutely magical. This is an early Lloyd Loar mandolin, isn't it?
Yeah.
What model is it?
It's an H14, if I'm correct. So it's a Mandola. It's not a. It's tuned a quint lower to give this extra punch in the low end.
Is this a Lloyd Loar?
Oh,
It's 1914, I think. So I would need to check, but I think it's a Lloyd Loar. Yeah.
You can play everything in your show.
You got to remember, this was the father of the modern electric guitar.
Yeah. Guitar.
Listen to it, sustained. Listen to this thing.
That were 20 years old.
Well, you just sold 2 instruments. An acoustic instrument you would think would ring less time than an electric instrument, right? Because of the hollow body. It's not true. And there's an instrument here that I played from 1922 that shouldn't do what it's doing. And this is one of the reasons it's good to be in this store, because they know what the history is versus what's being made.
It's below 48.
It stopped. What, about 27 seconds, something like that? That's not bad for an acoustic instrument, right? It's not going E. It's going ah. It's got an ah note. It's a beautiful, loud instrument. This was made by the people in the early 20s at Gibson, and they had a handle on how to get these things to be really loud. In the band, when there's a drummer, there was no microphone, there was no PA, there was no Bose column. They had to be heard over, what else was going on. And a cymbal's a pretty loud instrument. So all they had was this acoustic chamber, and it needed to be loud. And the thing's ringing like nuts. It's really nice. Huh?
It had to be the banjo as well.
Did they have banjos in 22? They were putting drum heads on instruments in 22, really?
Yeah.
That was a mistake. Okay.
Super. Thank you.
But that thing's ringing like crazy. So for me, getting your guitar to ring as well as it possibly can is more important than the microphone.
This is where we then have the offices, the film studio and photo studio. This is our customer safe. But have a look. This is a really great place.
Misbehaving customer here.
This is a 45 banner.
Let's try this one.
We try this one.
Storing them for safety or because?
safety. Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's a beautiful guitar.
It's a beautiful mid-range too. So, yeah, you have a question.
Ever since you started the private stock program, was there ever one kind of request that you refused to do? Because ever since I got into all the on the market of all the custom shop manufacturers, I once stumbled upon some, I think it was a British luthier, who used to do like a maple top which was stained with swine blood and something like that.
Stained with what? Stained with what?
Swine blood.
Pig blood?
Pig blood.
It was stained red with pig
Oh, no,
blood.
no, we take my blood and we stain it.
So was there ever some kind of situation that one customer or artist maybe came to you and you said, oh man, that's way too weird, I'm not going to do this?
For the most part, the requests from artists are grounded. For the most part, David Grissom wants a guitar like his, but it's got a single F hole or has slightly different pickup or a different kind of fret, or the neck shape's slightly different or something. He uses the guitar as a tool to do a job. Same thing with Joe Walsh or John Mayer or Carlos Santana. You know, they want a tool to do a job. So from the artists, pretty much across the board, it's pretty even. Orianthi, you name it, okay? The problem with customers that are ordering private stocks is they want something nobody else ever had or thought of, so they can brag they have the only one. But the problem is I have to put my name on it. It's like Pink Floyd let people be in their band, they play a solo, and then they release it under the Pink Floyd name. Okay, and what you're saying, what's the weirdest request you ever got, Paul, that you said no?
If there was any.
Yeah, there were plenty. We have them every day. There was a guy in Germany that requested that we inlay his dogs, which we did.
Were they alive?
No, but I had to pour their blood and make plastic parts so that with their blood was in. No. The reason I know the joke about my blood is somebody actually asked about it. Okay. So that's pretty bad, right? Yeah. You did it. Hell, no!
How many guitars can you manufacture? It's your blood.
No, I never did it. I will never do it. No.
Okay, so there's no limited run coming.
You started with pig's blood, then we went to my blood. I was trying to make a joke, and now you're trying to make it a reality. I don't want to do it. All right, look. Look, here's the problem. In 1959, which is debatably the year that Gibson peaked in their vintage guitar years, all the guitars that were Les Pauls were the same color, okay? The ones that they had such a big problem with, they would paint all gold to cover up the problem, right? If it was today, everybody go, no, I got to have a custom color. I've got to have a special one from my store. I've got to have this. I got to have that. I've got to this. The problem I have is that very often they'll request a thing that makes the guitar not as good a guitar. You know, we had a guitar the other day that had a splatter finish on it, and it had a pink back and a green neck and an orange middle of the neck and this, that, and the other. And I thought it looked like a piece of candy mixed with Christmas. And I wasn't so happy about it, but it was an order that we took. And my daughter said she thought it was one of the coolest guitars we'd ever made, at which point I got over it. So I don't put restrictions on my artists. I let them do things that are things I would never do. We had a guitar with a blue top and a brown back, which in feng shui is not good.
No.
But it's now Blue Mateo, and it's one of our best sellers. So go figure. The Zach Myers guitar is a...
The original one.
But the original one was like an olive green.
Trampus green.
Yeah, Trampus green. Trampus is the name of one of our stainers. We let him invent the color. So I don't try to do that. This color on this car was an original GM color. And what Leo Fender used to do is go down to the dealership and get a can of the same paint, and those would be the colors on the guitar. So he was using car paint. Same thing for us. We're using all the available tools. If Stradivari was alive today, he'd do one in Tiger's Eye. Believe me, it wouldn't just be that. Things have changed. For me, I want an extraordinary musical instrument. I want something that just makes music. So all these special eye things are not so important to me. 80% of information is brought in with people's eyes. The other 20%, what you hear, what you feel, what you smell, all that other stuff. But how the guitar sounds, how it feels, and how it looks are really, really important. But if you don't like the way it sounds and feels at the end, no matter how it looks, it's going to end up under your bed or sold on eBay or Reverb or whatever the site is here.
Yeah, Reverb.
Yeah, we have Reverb. So you also have another site in Italy that I found.
In Italy?
Yeah, like Merchant Musicale,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. We don't know about it in the States, but I found out, and I found a Neumann mic for half the price it normally should be, so I'm going to buy it. So. Did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you very much.
Look, it's okay for me to make jokes, but I'm not so sure the jokes are completely appropriate for the video.
no worries. We're Dutch, we can handle something.
Exactly.
We just got a new storage room, and we'll also update our whole website.
So where's the case for the Lloyd Loar?
We're going to have a look. That's a good one. We just checked. I'm not sure whether, because Law was a little bit later. It should be, no, it should be on the other side. So just mixed around. So I'm still looking myself as well.
This is extraordinary. Is this it?
Ah, no, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. It's the original case.
It is an original case. Yeah.
I'll take it. Great. I did not expect to walk in and find 3 extraordinary instruments. I did not. I am very, 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 very picky.
4 levels
And
of basements in
and
London. It's
You've done good.
insane.
Thank you.
You have done good.
Yeah.
You know, I've never done a clinic where somebody stood here and challenged me the whole time. I'm looking at you, not them. I can't. It's like no. If you want me to come after you, I can make you a target too. Go on, come on.
Yeah, we didn't explain it yet, but so we just discussed it that if the people have some questions,
I would.
Fire ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask them to ask questions.
super.
If they ask questions, we'll get to the same subjects that if they don't ask questions, and it's much more fun, interactive.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you have any questions,
Can I have one? Hello, I'm Peter. I'm a guitarist. I came from Warsaw, Poland, all the way 1,400 kilometers, especially to see Mr. Smith today. I haven't bought a new guitar for almost a year now, so it's good to me. But I think the stream will end today. Yeah, I know. I knew it. That today will be the day.
Smell it.
Vanilla, as always. isn't 12 figures. Oh, it's only 5.
Do you have a credit card?
Yes,
I can make this work.
Because I just spent all my guitar money, trying to recover
Oh,
from
what
doing
bullshit. All right, now hang on a minute. Let's do this. You just said you spent all your money. If I hit you in the teeth and knock your teeth out right now, you will find a lawyer to sue me and the money to fix your teeth. You have the money. Don't talk to me about that. That's not true. I'm sorry. You know what the best line is when somebody says, I don't know if I have the money? You say, do you deserve it? And they go, yeah. And then they buy the guitar. In COVID, let me just explain something to you. In COVID, we were the opium of COVID. Because when people went home, they wanted something to do that give them pleasure without being around other people. And they bought guitars like crazy. We have a 2-year back order. So, COVID has made us the drug. I'm sorry, you're a drug dealer. Sorry. All right, so go on.
What's your thought on the future of the guitar market? I've just read some data that in the United States alone, they sold 2.5 million guitars 2 years ago or 1
that true?
year ago. We can double that or even triple or quadruple globally because China and India alone is 3 billion people, right? So what's your thought about the sustainability of this market in the future?
You're kidding, right?
No, I just like to hear it
All right,
from
so,
you.
okay, the violin, when Paganini used to go to London and play, he was greeted at the docks as a rock star. The guitar is the violin of our time. That's what all these Cremona violin makers, you know what they own? McCarty's. They are playing electric guitar. So it's not going anywhere. It's part of our history. It's part of our society. You look in fashion magazines at people holding guitars. There's a guitar in almost every house. It's not going anywhere. It's the food you can't buy at the grocery store. You can buy the guitar, but you can't buy the feeling that it gives you when you play. So it's safe. It's safe. All right, let's do this. Is the funeral business safe? Okay. Is the food business safe? Is the food business safe? Okay, good. Furniture business?
You can say so.
Yeah. Guitar business? Okay.
We're good.
No, look, it's a very good point he's making, which is we're watching this magic thing. Is it going to continue? That's what he's saying. And you traveled all the way from Poland to be here today?
Yes.
To ask that question? You can do better than that. No, I'm kidding. I'm only kidding.
I'm curious what you think of this one. So this is a guitar maker from the Netherlands, and he used to be really active in the 1980s. And the way how he makes the guitars is that he sandwiches the neck. So
Is he still alive?
he is still alive. Yeah, he doesn't build anymore. But he used Colombian cedar on the neck. And then that entirely walks through the guitar, and then he sandwiches the top and the back on
He's
it.
a very good guitar maker.
72, Martin. I love that V-neck.
You don't think of the D45 as mid-range, but it is.
It is, yeah.
And they were good for recording because of all the mid-range.
Here is our Martin room. So when we started out with 4 vintage Martins that we imported from the US. And 4 became 8, and 8 became 12. And that's how it ended here. So this used to be the old mayor's room. They had double doors, so you couldn't listen to what he was saying. There's been a mayor in this room for almost 100 years. And here we have the Taylors and the Gibsons.
Nice. Really nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Very, very well done. So, you want to set the pedals up and I'll show them?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So we released 3 pedals, and I'm going to show everybody what we did. This is the first time, is that right? that this is the first time the pedals have been in the store, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can set up an amp, and I'll show everybody what
Roman
that
is
is.
setting up an amp. Maybe in the meanwhile, because
Yeah.
you know we've been talking a lot about the electrics, but of course you're a very good acoustic guitar
So
player
where's
as
the
well.
acoustic that he played? Is that it?
That's it.
All right, you have to set this up, and you're going to sit here and play for everybody. That's a very good sounding acoustic guitar. Come play, come on.
Got some time.
So introduce yourself and play that tune you were playing.
Right, so my name is Michael, and I'm actually just a camera guy. Somebody put it in open tuning. Was it you? Did you put it in open tuning?
No, you did.
No, I put it in DADGAD. All right. It was something like that.
That's beautiful. So, I'm going to show you something, okay? Come with me. Sure. Come. So, they're just right here. So, this instrument is a single diaphragmed instrument. It's not a double diaphragmed instrument. Most people think acoustic guitars are supposed to make sound out of the back and the top. But when Torres made guitars, he would lock the back up and lock the sides up and let the top. So this is really high pitched, this is really high pitched, and this is loose as a goose. So when I go like this, it'll Leslie around the room. Any energy coming out of the back is not coming out of the top. You don't get energy for free. It's only how much I hit it and it vibrates. And so if you want it to come out of the top, you have to stop it from coming out of the back. So when you're playing the guitar there, they're hearing it louder out there than you are. Which most acoustic guitars, they loosen the back up so you hear it really well, but it ruins it in front.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
thought about that, did you?
I actually, yes, I did. But the reason I thought about it is we X-rayed a Torres.
Oh, really?
And there were so many braces in it that it should have had no sound at all. And when we X-rayed it, it was not how did he brace it? What was he thinking? And he was thinking single diaphragmed instrument. Because his point was that the back was a way of pushing the sound back out. This is a port, like in a speaker cabinet. It wasn't intended to let sound out, it was intended to give it bass. If you take a CD and you slide it over the hole while you're playing, you can hear the bass note change. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But the reason I wanted you to stand here, because I wanted you to hear it, Leslie. I wanted you to hear it project, right? And when you were playing it, there's no microphone, but you heard it just fine in the back, right? That's a concert instrument where you play pianissimo and you hear it in the back corner without a microphone. Anyway, thank you for being
Thank you, Paul, for having me.
courageous to play for everybody. Everybody give him a big hand. Thank you. Okay. What's fascinating about that guitar for me is that when I shipped it, it was a couple days old. And now it's 10 years old, and it's matured a little bit because the finish is dried. And it sounds a teeny bit different than when I shipped it. Electric guitars almost sound the same the day you ship them. But acoustic guitars do mature a little bit, mostly because the finish dries, not because of anything else. So this whole idea that it's going to open up like a bottle of wine, I don't buy it. But I do buy that the finish dries some in it and the top can resonate more. Yes, ma'am.
Well, first of all, good for you for what you did for your employees. I just have a small anecdote. My father-in-law used to play the piccolo at the Concertgebouw. And with regards to resonating, his instrument was unique, and he would peek out everything and everybody. So what we've been telling all morning long was resonated a lot for me, so it was good. And the next an anecdote with regards to what the gentleman said at the beginning, he was looking at my husband and said, well, why do you have so many guitars? Because he only had one piccolo. Was the answer. There's no answer to it. You just need as many guitars as you need. But then with regards to all the guitars that we see here, what would you, when you look at all of them, they're all different. What does their, except for the looks, what is their different? Where is the heart? What do you have to do to know that the guitar that you want is that one?
You're asking a very complex question. We do a lot of videos to explain all this stuff. When you talk about the piccolo having this resonant note in this range, it's true, you can hear the piccolo over everything else. And there's a lot of rock stars. I bought a pedal on this trip called a Range Master, which would take all the bass out so your guitar sounded like a piccolo, so that you could hear it on the radio. And they do that in our industry. As far as the guitars go, the whole industry does this really messed up thing. They go, well, I bought one of those. What else you got? What else do you have? I'm sorry, you're 2 years back ordered. I know I need 2 years worth of guitars, but what else you got? I mean, it's kind of a... We get bored too fast. You know, I think it's this. I'm not sure, but I think it's this. This is what somebody looks like in the street. This is what somebody looks like in the mall. It's so fast. And there was a movie in America called Mission Impossible 3, and it was the beginning of completely changing the movie industry. Every second they were coming at you. They never had a relaxed point in the movie. It just came at you and came at you and came at you and came at you. And if we don't do that with all these different colors, if I would just make that guitar and only that guitar, I would be happy. But somebody wants that blue one, and somebody wants that seafoam green one, and somebody wants that red one, and somebody asked about that guitar, and somebody wants the blue one, because how we see things is very important to us. And I'm sorry that's the way it is. Believe me. That is a ridiculous guitar. Should have left the store a long time ago. Don't know why it's still here, but we get bored. Violins all look the same. Have you noticed that? Piccolos look about the same, right? Okay, you only had one. Well, who's the gear slut who you are worried about? Who has all the guitars? Oh, so she's the gear slut supporter.
With me today as well.
So that's why I'm asking, because he came in with a specific guitar in mind, and then obviously, since I'm the one, well, I know what he's being paying for it. So when he dies, I know for what I have.
Yay! Okay, wait a minute. Here's the problem. It's not drugs. It's not a bad addiction. It's not a damaging addiction. And my job is to make the guitar he buys worth the same money on Reverb or eBay tomorrow that he bought it. When you buy a car, it's worth 30% less as you drive it off the lot, except after COVID. Well, that's a different story, right? It changed in COVID, right? You could buy it, you could sell it for the same thing because you couldn't get another one. But it's okay. Somehow it's okay. Now, I don't collect guitars. They're teachers to me. These old guitars, I hold them until... what?
How many guitars do you have, Paul?
4 or 5? 6, maybe? No. You're talking about the new ones in my office? That was different.
You bought 3 today?
All right, so let me explain what I bought today.
I like guitar.
Yeah, your wife's guitars.
They're my wife's guitars. No, but I did bring a guitar home. She said, I'll have that. And I went, because I love this one. And she wanted it. She never asked me for anything. So I said, after about 40 seconds, so you can have it, realizing I would have to ask her permission every time I went on the road to use it, which was okay. She's going to get it when I die anyway, so it was all right with me. And if she dies first, I get it back. So it's fine. I'm in a good relationship. One of the two of us is going to bury the other one. Okay, which is a compliment. It sounds really evil, but it's actually a compliment. It's okay. Somehow They make us feel better. Somehow we enjoy the collecting of them. Somehow it gives us, we work really hard, whether male or female, and it gives us a way to enjoy our work more than paying for the taxes. So I don't really have a problem with it. I have a real taste for high-end studio gear, old reverbs, old mic pre's, old microphones, because in the studio, if I've got a gifted musician and I can put a mic on them, makes them sound better. Recently, we got a hold of 2 old German microphones called Sheps, and we were able to mic a drum set the same way that Led Zeppelin did, with 3 mics, one on the left, one on the right, and one on the bass drum. Never got a sound like that. Never heard a hi-hat like that. They were so happy. They were like, whatever you just did, don't ever not do again. They loved it. So it was worth it to buy. How many guitars does he have?
But he has to trade sometimes.
You know, we did a video about this. You know about this video? Oh, you're going to like this story. Now, I'll finish with this story, okay, Jez?
Okay, thank you.
There's a room of 1,000 people at our experience. And this guy is mad because his wife won't let him buy another guitar. I said, put her on the phone. So we call her, and she lives here in Europe. And he had explained that he had 32 guitars to everybody, but she wouldn't let him have a 33rd. So I said to her on the phone, well, he has 32. She goes, what? And he went, I said, you'll tell 1,000 people, but your wife doesn't know? He goes, oh, I'm in trouble now, basically. And I said, I looked at him, you can watch the video online. It's on YouTube, okay? I said to him, I go, I like her way more than you. I said, all right, lady, I'll tell you what. He says, well, if he sells one, he can get another one. And he goes, oh, no, I'm not selling any. In front of everybody. I said, I'm going to buy you a ticket. I'm going to bring you here next year, and I'm going to give you a guitar in front of everybody, which she agrees to on the phone, and we bring her the next year. What, 1,200 people in the tent? It's raining, electricity in the air. We put her on the stage, put his daughter on the stage, and put him in a straitjacket. And gave her the private stock he would have always wanted, because it was never going to be for sale. It was a prototype. As long as she agreed, he could never touch it. And to watch her and me look at each other and write down the pipe about whether or not she was going to be able to keep her promise or not, while he's in the straitjacket, scaring his daughter. I said, you got to shut up, right? We gave her the guitar, and all the women in the audience went berserk. We gave her the private stock. They're still friends. And no, seriously, they were being playful. It was fine, and she enjoyed it. But watching her try to figure out whether she could keep him away from it or not was fascinating.
I don't have that problem, by the way.
No, I must say, you said something about it burying one burying the other one, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Oh, no, she's great. She's being very playful. She's beating you bad in this one. She's asking a question and you didn't, and you're the gear slut. So.
But there's one thing I said to her, and I think I prefer not to say buy guitars, but obtain or, welcome one into your home. I said there's one thing that will never change, and that will be me.
It sounds better, but it really isn't.
I know.
All right, so to that end, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be in your store.